In the late 90s, Monica Lewinsky was at the center of one of the most explosive scandals of the century. Decades later, her story continues to fascinate, and it's also far from over. Monica Lewinsky was born in 1973. Her father, Bernard Lewinsky, was a successful oncologist, while her mother, Marcia Lewis, was an author. Growing up in Beverly Hills, her world was rocked by her parents' bitter divorce in 1987. Around the time of her parents' split, Lewinsky began her first year at Beverly Hills High, the setting for TV hit Beverly Hills 90210. For Lewinsky, growing up in that world of wealth and privilege was a double-edged sword. Prone to weight gain, Lewinsky felt like an outsider alongside the gorgeous and glamorous teenagers who were her classmates. Her self-esteem, which had already taken a hit from her parents' divorce, had plummeted, yet by the time she moved on to Bel Air Prep, a posh private school costing $12,000 per year, she appeared to be well-adjusted. For Lewinsky, a dream job interning at the White House quickly turned into a living nightmare. Her 1995 internship led to her infamous affair with President Bill Clinton.
I fell in love with my boss, who was married and also the most powerful man in the world.
When details of the affair were leaked to the press, Clinton initially denied everything, telling PBS's Jim Lehrer,
"There is not a sexual relationship, an improper sexual relationship, or any other kind of improper relationship."
Still, an investigation was launched, with Ken Starr appointed independent counsel. Clinton was ultimately impeached, but fell short of the Senate votes needed to be removed from office. Lewinsky was granted full immunity in exchange for testifying about the affair. Suddenly, she was at the center of a full-blown scandal.
It was a storm. It was an avalanche of pain and humiliation.
In the wake of the scandal, Lewinsky found herself in uncharted territory. As an internationally famous celebrity whose name and face were identifiable worldwide, she was also unemployable. To both support herself and tell her side of the story, she turned to writer Andrew Morton. Morton had famously worked with Princess Diana on her bombshell book Diana, Her True Story, which listed all the ways Diana was betrayed, and Lewinsky hoped she could accomplish the same thing with her book, Monica's Story. Published in 1999, the book was the linchpin of a massive media blitz, a two-prong effort intended to repair her badly battered public image and, of course, sell some books. That included a 2-hour sit-down with iconic journalist Barbara Walters, which nabbed monster ratings when nearly 50 million viewers tuned in.
Sometimes I have warm feelings, sometimes I'm proud of him still, and sometimes I hate his guts.
She also gave an extensive interview for Time, appearing on the magazine's cover. She detailed just how different her experience had been from that of Clinton. She told the magazine, "For me, I was the one lying awake at night crying, scared I was going to go to jail. I was the one being followed. I was the one being torn apart in the press and my family. And then, yes, I bore some responsibility for how that came about, but I don't know that the punishment fit the crime." In 1999, Lewinsky moved to New York City, renting an apartment in Greenwich Village. While living in the Big Apple, Lewinsky cooked up a way to exercise her creativity while hopefully bringing in a few bucks by launching her own line of designer handbags. She began selling her real Monica bags online, but soon got them into such retailers as Henry Bendel and Fred Siegel. By 2004, though, she'd quietly shuttered the business. According to Vogue, a message on the website declared that the brand was hibernating, while Henry Bendel no longer carried the bags. Shortly after moving to New York, Lewinsky was tapped by Jenny Craig to become the company's new spokesperson. She was set to be the focal point of Jenny Craig's $7 million advertising campaign, slated to run from December 1999 through to the following March. On paper, Lewinsky seemed tailor-made to promote Jenny Craig, given that she'd been struggling with her weight for her entire life.
"I've tried every diet in the world."
In a TV commercial, Lewinsky claimed to have already lost 31 pounds on the plan, with presumably more to follow.
I feel fantastic.
The gig generated controversy, with some Jenny Craig franchises reportedly refusing to display her posters, complaining Lewinsky was an inappropriate role model. In April 2000, the company launched a new advertising campaign without Lewinsky. In 2002, Lewinsky starred in Monica in Black and White, an HBO documentary special in which she answered questions from a live audience. During an appearance on CNN's Larry King Live, she explained that the purpose of the special was to set the record straight. She told the host, "Well, for me, really, I think it was I wanted to try and clear up some of the misperceptions that were out there and fill in some of the historical gaps. But I don't think that should stop me from trying to correct some of the misperceptions that are out there." The following year, Lewinsky returned to television for a very different project as host of a reality dating show for the Fox network. Titled Mr. Personality, the premise involved a single woman being courted by 20 men, each of whom wore a latex mask in order to conceal their faces. The goal was for the woman to find her soulmate based on their personalities, not their looks.
I am certainly ready to fall in love.
Without ever seeing his face.
While ratings started off strong, they dropped precipitously after the curiosity factor wore off. Fox wound up yanking the show after just 5 episodes aired. With her short-lived reality TV career in the rearview mirror, Lewinsky took stock of her life. Traditional options were not open to her. She told New York Magazine in 2001, "It's not like I can just go and get a job somewhere. People aren't jumping to hire me." In 2005, she made a bold decision moving to London to study at the esteemed London School of Economics. Her goal was to obtain a master's degree.
The hope with graduate school was really to kind of build a new scaffolding.
The following year, she earned that degree, graduating with a Master's of Science degree in social psychology. As Lewinsky's publicist, Barbara Hudson, told Reuters, when the 32-year-old's name was called at the graduation ceremony, the audience erupted in applause. According to Hudson, it was a very emotional moment for Lewinsky. Hudson also revealed that Lewinsky was planning to remain in London and had already started interviewing for jobs there. Ultimately, though, reinventing herself and blending back into anonymity would prove elusive. Lewinsky told Rolling Stone, "I was really hoping I could have a new identity in life, and it didn't work. I couldn't get a job. There was still so much stigma around me and my history." In 2012, Lewinsky was still living in London when reports began to emerge about a big book deal. The New York Post claimed she was being paid $12 million to write a salacious tell-all exposing all of Bill Clinton's sexy secrets. That book never materialized, and it's likely that the whole report was bogus from the get-go. However, Lewinsky did emerge 2 years later, not with a book, but with an essay for Vanity Fair. In it, she admitted to having deep regret for her past actions, writing, "It's time to burn the beret and bury the blue dress." At this point, Lewinsky was 40. She'd been through the fire and made it out alive, albeit with more than her share of scars. She was ready to move on and was prepared to drag the rest of the world along with her if they weren't on board. She wrote in the essay, "I am determined to have a different ending to my story. I've decided finally to stick my head above the parapet so that I can take back my narrative and give a purpose to my past. What this will cost me, I will soon find out."
And it may be hard. It may take more time than you ever could have imagined, but you can move past something like this.
What Lewinsky wrote for Vanity Fair wasn't just an essay, it was a shot against the bow, announcing she was no longer the scandalous punchline of the late 1990s. She was a survivor, emerging from one of the 20th century's biggest scandals to share the lessons that she'd learned. In 2014, she delivered her first ever public address, speaking at Forbes' inaugural 30 Under 30 summit and declaring herself to be the canary in the coal mine for online bullying. She said, "I was patient zero, the first person to have their reputation completely destroyed worldwide via the internet." That speech was the first step in rebranding herself as an advocate speaking out against cyberbullying. She said,
"I want to put my suffering to good use and give purpose to my past."
The following year, she went on to deliver a TED Talk that covered similar terrain. Titled The Price of Shame, that speech has been viewed more than 22 million times. With traditional avenues of employment closed off to her, it's only natural for the public to wonder what Monica Lewinsky does for a living now. That question was answered in 2021 when she stepped into a whole new role, TV producer. After founding her own production company, the aptly named Alt Ending, she entered a first-look deal with 20th Television to develop projects for the studio. The first project to emerge was FX's impeachment American Crime Story.
"Because you're beautiful. You light up the room."
Lewinsky served as an executive producer on the project, telling The Hollywood Reporter, "I'm interested in storytelling that is entertaining, thought-provoking, and emotion-stirring. That moves a conversation forward by exploring the human condition from an unexpected lens. Having had my own story hijacked for many years, I'm very interested in the voices or perspectives we historically don't hear from or see." Impeachment allowed her to tell her story her way, presenting a dramatized version of what she'd gone through. With Booksmart star Beanie Feldstein portraying Lewinsky, viewers had the opportunity to relive the scandal, but through Lewinsky's eyes. In 2025, Lewinsky embarked on a whole new project that in retrospect was not entirely unexpected: podcasting. Launched that year, Reclaiming with Monica Lewinsky was a new podcast in which she interviewed celebrities about the experiences that shaped them. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Lewinsky was fully aware of how much more of herself she would need to reveal in order to be successful at it. She explained, "For this podcast to be all it can be, I have to be more open. The part of me that makes a joke on Twitter or can write an article, it's hiding still a little bit. The podcast is me reclaiming as much as the stories of people I'm talking to." The eclectic list of celebrities Lewinsky has interviewed for Reclaiming includes crime novelist Harlan Coben, Severance star Adam Scott, and Nobel Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai.
A life without education scared me, and then I said, I have to speak out.
When asked why she's chosen the guests she has, Lewinsky told Rolling Stone, "People whose stories interest me. My intention is that it's a very elastic definition of reclaiming, which is to take back something that was yours or to get back something that was lost or stolen. There might be grief, resilience, and ultimately, you triumph."